Hello and welcome. You're watching SportsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra and with me in the studio is former India cricketer Nikhil Chopra. Nikhil, thank you so much for being over here. And after the first T20 was washed out in Dharamshala, the action now shifts to Mohali for the second T20. And for Virat Kohli, this is an opportunity to try out a new combination, or rather a slew of combinations. He has already said that the younger players coming into the side will have to take advantage of the limited opportunities that they have been presented with. And the near future, as the team builds for the World T20 World Cup, it is imperative that newer combinations are in fact tried and tested at home as well. So India may have a huge bench strength, but the talent lies in the choices of the players that are going to be made when the 11 descends upon the Mohali Stadium tomorrow in Punjab against South Africa. Now, South Africa are the clear underdogs in this contest, but they could take advantage if and only if India appears to be confused in its attempts to fit everyone to get a game. And let's analyze what might happen tomorrow. Nikhil Chopra, first up, a question for you. The first match was in fact washed out. You know, Mohali is not that far away from Dharamshala. So, you know, the weather gods could also spell some trouble in Mohali as well. There is prediction of a slight drizzle, but those are not the problems that the Indians will be worried about right now. It's the usual suspects that we have to talk about. Is it going to be KL Rahul versus Shikhar Dhawan? Is it going to be Manish Pandey or Shreyas Iyer at number 4? Are we going to go with 3 pacers? Or are we going to go with 3 spinners? What's it going to be? Let's start with the top order first. You know, Shikhar Dhawan definitely is a left-hander, but KL Rahul, when it comes to numbers, Nikhil, has always had an edge.
True, but you know how system works in India is because he's been dropped from the test side. Shikhar Dhawan's making a comeback. He's got runs in domestic cricket. It makes a big difference when you've got numbers on your side.
Right.
Left and right combination, Rohit and Shikhar at the top have always done well in the shorter format of the game. And with Virat coming at 3. So, you know, to answer your question, I think it'll be Shikhar starting, and which is a good thing as well, because he still has a lot of cricket left in him. And you're looking to make that combination of trying to find the right sort of combination when it comes to the T20 World Cup. And I think Virat, a couple of days ago in one of the press conferences, he's looking at maybe 30-odd games and looking to get everybody a chance and opportunity. And it's up to the youngsters whoever grabs their opportunity. But to me, to start with, Shikhar's going to be there, and some of the other youngsters would definitely get an opportunity.
Okay, in fact, we'll talk about Shikhar Dhawan just in a bit, but you know, we at NewsX, we in fact have predicted the 11 that might play tomorrow. Just flash that on our screens and see if Nikhil Chopra concurs with the list that we have in fact devised. Now, Shikhar Dhawan is somebody that we are talking about while we wait for that list to pop up on your screens. All right, there it is. Nikhil, this is in fact what we predict is going to be the team for tomorrow. What are the changes, if any, you feel are going to be accommodated into that list?
To be honest, I think in place of Shreyas Iyer, you might give another opportunity to Manish Pandey, because he's been playing in the West Indies. And looking at the situation where the top 3 batsmen, the number of overs they face, if they still have some juice, then you have Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya getting promoted in the batting order as well. You'll have Krunal, of course, play because he was the man of the series in the West Indies T20 series. I have a feeling at the Mohali venue, definitely he's going to give an opportunity to Rahul Chahar. You need a wrist spinner against the South Africans in the mix, and it's not a bad ploy to even think about a wrist spinner, keeping in mind the T20 World Cup as well. We all know how well Kuldeep and Chahal have done. Rahul Chahar, you know, the young kid, he's got enough revolutions on that ball. He gets a lot of bounce. He can, you know, trouble a lot of batsmen. We've seen that. You know, he's been phenomenal in the IPL as well. So he enjoys bowling under pressure.
Absolutely, Nikhil, and you do make a pressing point. And in fact, on that same note, let me also welcome Ekta Gupta, former cricketer, onto our show. And we're also joined by Ratinder Singh Sodhi, who's of course joining us from Punjab. But let me come to you first. Nikhil raised a point that Rahul Chahar could perhaps be instrumental in India's exploits tomorrow. Just the fact that the stadium also has longer square boundaries. Do you think it will be expedient and prudent to play a guy like Chahar?
Absolutely, yes. If you have Rahul Chahar, in fact, I'm of the opinion that you've got to play 3 spinners there. Jadeja, you've got Krunal Pandya and Rahul Chahar. So all 3 would fit into my playing 11. I've mentioned that before the first game as well. And in Mohali, even though the surface is very good for batting, the spinners, if you look at the numbers of the spinners, they aren't that great. That's predominantly because, as you mentioned, the side boundaries are longer, so the length becomes very important. As a spinner or as any bowler, as Nikhil will tell you, the idea is to pitch it up to the batsman, and that's where I think the straight boundaries come into the picture, and the straight boundaries are rather short at Mohali. It's the square boundary, so that's where, just to get that length can be very tricky for a spinner especially, the in-between length where you don't want the batsman to cut and pull that easily, but you also don't want to pitch it too up to the batsman where they can use the shorter straight boundaries. But
right.
For me, yes, wrist spinner Rahul Chair definitely in my playing 11.
Well, Krunal also will definitely get a chance to play tomorrow, but we were also talking about Shikhar Dhawan, and Ritinder, let me come to you. Shikhar Dhawan obviously will get an opportunity to play, but do you think this is perhaps a make or break season for Shikhar Dhawan? And I definitely feel, the testmanship for Shikhar Dhawan has already sailed. This is his opportunity to cement his place, in the shorter formats of the game. You concur?
Yeah, definitely I concur on this because Vineet, if you look at Dhawan's career, he has been on and off. At one point you feel that he will be a certainty for years to come, and at one point he just go out of form, and injury has been again a big predicament for him. So I'm sure he's fit now, and a big opportunity. Home series against South Africa, which seems to be a pedestrian side. If we get runs, I'm sure Virat Kohli will be a very confident man.
Well, right, Virat Kohli has been a confident man, Nikhil, but Ravi Shastri and Kohli have also been giving feelers to the entire team, especially to Rishabh Pant. Ravi Shastri minced no words when he told him that if you mess up, if you keep getting out in the same fashion that you have been getting out, you will be wrapped on the knuckles. Virat Kohli, being the magnanimous captain he is, he said that Rishabh Pant has a specialty, but there are only a number of opportunities that can be presented to somebody. He said, I got 5 to 6 opportunities and I had to make the most of them. So in a way, he's trying to give him a sign, a signal that, hey, time's getting up.
Absolutely. You might have all the potential in the world, but
talent or no talent.
Without a doubt, at the end of the day, talent, potential, it all needs to be converted into performance. And Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli, two guys running the side, I think the yardstick is the same for everybody. When you're playing for your country, you've got to keep going out there and keep on performing. You've got the opportunities, you're getting the opportunities. If you don't make the most of it, Vineet, what's all that talent or potential? Well, where's it going to take you? Your rope couldn't be only so long, in terms of the kind of potential or the talent you have. Ultimately, the number of games you win, because there's another thing that Ravi Shastri said in that interview, you don't want him to be hurting the team. When you're being sent up the order, obviously they believe in your potential, but you go out there, get your 15s and 20s, you get out, you're doing a lot more harm than any good to the side, and you don't want a player like that. So, wrap on the knuckles and being shown the door. But if you grab your opportunity, I guess everybody would be smiling and laughing.
Right, absolutely. And Deep, coming to you on the same point related to Rishabh Pant, do you think he's being perhaps processed and looked upon as a floater in the team? And that is the reason where, perhaps there is pilferage in his confidence as well?
I don't think so. That should be an issue, because in modern day cricket, you've got to be flexible. Anyone who bats in the middle order has to be flexible. I've mentioned this before. As far as I'm concerned, T20 cricket, only your openers are fixed. After that, it's the situation which dictates who's going to go into bat, your batting order. As far as Rishabh is concerned, again, as Nikhil mentioned, there's only X number of games that somebody can give to you, and that will always depend on the potential. Someone like Rishabh will get more chances than, let's say, someone else who's not as talented as Rishabh is. But most importantly, where I'm a little disappointed with Rishabh is the way he's batting. Listen, he's a proper batsman. He's not a slogger. If you look at the shots with which he's getting out to, it seems like he's trying to hit everything over mid-on and mid-wicket. He's such a good... I want to jog your memory back to the 50 that he got in West Indies. If you remember, the big shot, the sixes that he hit was over mid-off or extra cover. That's the kind of cricketer or batsman he is. He needs to focus on that aspect of his game. That opens up the whole ground, not just the mid-wicket, which is, that's what a slogger does. Everything goes over mid-wicket, but he's not a slogger. He's a proper top-order batsman, and that's what he needs to tell himself, and that's how he needs to bat. And that is where I think this frustration from him comes. Is not that he's not getting runs. Yes, that is part of it. But also the way he's getting out.
Right, and Ricky, coming to you, in fact, there's a lot of uncertainty over Dhoni's retirement. You know, a lot of people have speculated, will he, won't he, World T20 World Cup, will he play or will he not? And very recently, this rumor or this speculation was at its peak because of a couple of incidents that happened. Do you think it is playing on Rishabh Pant's mind that Dhoni's certainty or is the uncertainty with his future in the Indian team, is not being talked about, and that is the reason he's also having sleepless nights?
Look, I think the other way here, Vineet, because even Rishabh Pant's future in the 11 or in the squad is so much uncertain that he can't think about MS Dhoni. And talking about Ravi Shastri, who said he will be given the rap on his knuckles, I think he should have been already given that rap, but it hasn't been done yet. He has been given lots of opportunities. I don't really agree with Deep here, as he's saying that he's a very talented boy, and that is one reason he has been given more opportunities than anybody else, because it's not written on anybody's forehead that he's talented or not. It's about performance. You do well, you're in the team. You don't do well, you're out. And what he did in the World Cup in Trinidad, I'm sure it has to be very much transparent, and he should be given the exit door if he doesn't perform against South Africa in the home series now.
Well, in fact, Nikhil, Virat Kohli also categorically enunciated and made it very clear to Rishabh Pant that your talent is on one side, but the way you read games is extremely important for a person who's been given or put in a position where he can affect the result of a team.
It makes a world of a difference in why he's been given that number 4 slot, because everybody believes in that sort of talent. And when you're given the opportunity, you look at the top 3. The idea is when somebody, a batsman gets a start, it's his job to convert that start and look to finish games as well. If you look at the 11 playing in cricket, you have 6 batsmen, 5 bowlers. Not all 6 will get you runs, but it's important. And whichever batsman gets a start, it's his responsibility to go out there and make sure he finishes games, wins games. That is why you are recognized as a match winner. And that's the kind of potential or talent that Rishabh has got. And that's why the team management is thinking so highly of him. But, his luck is in his own hands. Unless he goes out there and starts winning games and, shouldering responsibilities, but it won't be too long where someone else has been given the opportunity, and that should be the case and scenario because you're representing your country.
Right. Let's also talk about the bowling now. Now, Deep, Washington Sundar and Chahar have been given a chance ahead of Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal. Now, on one side, you have this macro agenda of preparing the team and giving your players as many games as possible right before the marquee event. Explain this to me like I'm an 8-year-old as to why Washington Sundar and Chahar were in fact chosen ahead of Chahal and Yadav.
Okay, 2 ways to look at it. You've got 25 games before the World Cup starts, right? It was 26 till Dharamshala, and now it's 25 games. What I think Virat has also mentioned in that press conference is why not have a deeper batting lineup as well, where other teams are batting till number 9, 10. Why not we also look at that? Well, if that's the philosophy, and that kind of dictates the selection as well. You spoke about someone like Washington Sundar. Washington Sundar, he's a very good talent, but is he a wicket-taking option? No. So you're taking him because he's going to bowl you a couple of overs right in the beginning, in the first 6, then couple of overs before the 12th, 13th over, and then he can bat. Now that is very important. That is how I believe this team is looking as far as T20 is concerned, trying to get more bowlers in who can bat. So there is depth in the batting. This is how I see it. And from the other side that you mentioned about Chahal and Kuldeep, listen, Kuldeep's had a pretty kind of an average last 6-8 months as far as white ball cricket is concerned. And there are a lot of things that we don't get to see. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about work ethics. I'm talking about bowling in the nets, about going to the gym, and is he serious about it? Is he lagging in his effort? So those things also count when you're part of the team. Those things people like us sitting here will not be able to judge or gauge. I think that's also an important aspect as far as the team management is concerned. I think those things is playing a factor. And like I said, and like Virat said in the press conference, they will give opportunities to others as well. So I won't be surprised if Rahul doesn't do that well. You get someone like Mayank Markande in, who is also a very decent batsman. So I think in those 24, 25 games which are remaining right now, you will see a few more changes, I think, before they settle down with their 15, 16.
Right, and Ricky, what do you make of this this fact that these two have been given an opportunity ahead of your regular bowlers? The World Cup is not very far away, and 20 to 30 games of international World T20 international still remaining, and then you will also have 11 to 12 games in the IPL. So around 30 to 40 games that most of these guys will have to play. Do you think giving them a rest right before the marquee event was a very prudent thing to do?
Chahal and Kuldeep shown the exit door. It's my personal opinion. They haven't done so badly that they should be dropped. But the way Deep is saying, there are few things which we don't see, so that can be one of the factors, and that is one reason Virat Kohli don't have these guys in the team, especially Kuldeep Yadav, as we have just listened. But all said and done, Washington Sundar, we all know he can bat, so we bat deep now. And Indian batting lineup in T20 seems as deep as Atlantic Ocean. And is that necessary? Do you expect Washington Sundar to get 4 to 5 overs, or anybody coming down the order? It means that our top order will fail miserably. I think that is where Virat Kohli has to really think, because it is top 4 or 5 who will win you the T20 game, and that's a big question now.
All right, it's always a pleasure when you mix some poetry with your cricketing analysis. And Nikhil, you wanted to make a point on the same.
Yeah, I heard that press conference a couple of days ago with Virat coming out and saying that, like other teams, you'd want your side, your bowlers, depth in batting were 9 and 10. But to be honest, all his life, Virat, the champion cricketer that he is, I don't think he should be looking at other sides. It's a good thing that you'd want to emulate, but don't forget, the other teams don't have the top 3 like the Indian team, where 80% of the runs are, got by them, won by them. Absolutely. If you have two other solid middle order batsmen, then you have Hardik, you have Krunal Pandya. T20 is a format with 120 deliveries. I don't think, if the 6 batsmen or the 7 batsmen can do the job, you will have somebody 9 and 10. It's a blessing if you have somebody, but if you don't harp on the fact, in terms of your bowlers, if you have 2 quality bowlers in the middle, why has Team India done so well, or Kuldeep or Chahal done so well? Because they've been getting you wickets in that middle phase as well. If you have a quality spinner who can win you games, bamboozle batsmen, pick up wickets, that's what you want. You don't want its and bits cricketer. No disrespect, but it's a good thing to look at other sides. But I think Virat Kohli, the champion that he is, the kind of batsman that he is, you look within yourselves, my friend, Indian team's pretty solid.
Absolutely. And Nikhil, what do you make of this recent infusion of speedsters into the Indian fold? You have Navdeep Saini, you have Khalil, and you have Deepak Chahar. What could you possibly be the logic behind this?
See, with fast bowling is a very rare commodity, if I may say that.
We have Bumrah, we have Bhuvi.
You got to handle them, Vineet, with great amount of care. With the kind of season that you've got, it's always good to strengthen your bench strength. Get that nursery going. If you have quality there, you don't want you're only emphasizing on 3-4 guys. God forbid one of them breaks down. Some of the other guys don't have enough experience. Then you get stuck. So you don't want to be in that sort of case and scenario. It's a good thing that rotation is happening when it comes to the quicker bowlers. I've always felt that, because it's a rare commodity, and it's good to see Team India with the number of quicks that we've got, with bowling speeds of excess of 140 with great amount of ease. So handle with care, give enough exposure, get that nursery big enough.
Absolutely, and also get a feedback on the same from Deep Das Gupta. Deep, we already have Bumrah and Bhuvi who have been rested. They have been preserved perhaps for the test matches, but there has been an infusion of quicks in the T20 format as well. Do you think this perhaps could become like a paradox of plenty, like we learnt in economics? I had economics in 11th, and that's what I learned. When you have too many good things going for you, it's not a good thing.
Yeah. It is. I completely agree. I also had economics in university as well. But you know what? If you go back to the World Cup 50 overs, you have Shami, Bumrah, Bhuvi. Who was your 4th seamer? So when you talk about problem of plenty, I don't think there is plenty, by the way. Now in T20 cricket, Shami has not really been considered. Bhuvi is struggling with his injury and his fitness issues. We know that he was in the academy in Bangalore trying to improve his fitness. That's a big question mark there. So technically speaking, in T20 cricket, you only have Bumrah. So it's not that you have plenty. Yes, you have plenty of options in terms of potential. But there are no settled bowlers as yet. This is how I see it. I only see Bumrah there, and I don't see anyone else who walks into a playing 11 as far as a fast bowler is concerned. So you need to try a few of them out, like Khalil and Navdeep and Deepak, and maybe even Shami if push comes to shove. Quickly going back to what Nikhil had mentioned about Virat, also we've got to think about at times a captain and a team management also tries to send signals to the other people. You've got to start. At times you've got to read between the lines as well. India has been depending way too much on the top three, and that's been the downfall even in the World Cup, right? So I think it's about time that the team sends a signal to everyone else that, it's time to, get your act together, the middle order batsman. So maybe it's not that he's losing confidence in the top three. Maybe he's trying to send a signal to the middle order batsman saying, if you don't get your act together, I'm going to get bowlers who can bat. I won't be depending on you guys.
Absolutely. And Sodhi has had a consistent smirk on his face, but we also, Ricky, have to talk about South Africa. Now, let's not forget that there is another side in this whole equation as well, which we have to beat if all these analyses are to be considered any good. But before we actually talk about South Africa as a whole, we need to talk about one of their superstars, and that is Rabada. Off late, his thunder, if I can call it, has been stolen by Jofra Archer and Bumrah to some extent. Do you think that Rabada is the kind of a bowler, if you give him more responsibilities, the more he will thrive?
First of all, just one thing, I was always wondering that why Deep always talks wisdom, and today the testimony is that he was master of economics. So it is proven. And talking about Rabada here, I'm sure, Vineet, he's beyond his peak. If you talk about Rabada of yesteryears, he was quick, ferocious, he can really rattle the batsman, but that is not the case. And we should not forget, we are playing on Indian wickets. The Mohali wicket, placid wicket, we all know that it has so much of runs, and it's T20 cricket, it's not test cricket. So I'm not worried about Rabada, and I'm worried about one man, and that is Rohit Sharma. If Rohit Sharma can just stay for 2 overs and just see through Rabada, then we can see a big 100 by him.
Right, absolutely. And Nikhil, we also have to talk about what should India do. But at the same time, I also want you to give me your impressions of Kagiso Rabada and Quinton de Kock and the other, notable guys who can in fact trouble India because of their sheer unpredictability and anonymity.
Vineet, the beauty about this 120 ball format is that one guy or 2 guys can change the course of the game. Quinton de Kock gets in, he gets up big enough, he'll put runs on the board. And, they have a lethal bowling attack, make no mistake about it, you can't take them lightly,
Sure.
with David Miller in the middle order. So because if a side makes a couple of mistakes, because of the size of the format that you have in T20, it's very hard for the opposition side or whoever makes a mistake for them to come back. So you can't take the South Africans lightly with the kind of bowlers that they've got. Kagiso Rabada, he gets a wicket, gains in confidence. We all saw in the IPL, comes the death overs as well. He bowls Yorkers with great amount of ease. Air speed is air speed, 145, 148 kilometers an hour. He'll trouble batsmen. The important thing is how you handle the new ball. You handle the new ball, you don't give wickets, you're not going to bowl the second over, which I don't think so, because they'll probably look to get him to bowl to one of the batsmen in the middle order, and the last 2 would be during the last couple of overs, in the death overs as well. So you've got to handle, you've got to strategize against the South Africans, because their strength lies in their bowling.
All right, Deep, a quick reaction from you. In fact, we only have a minute left on the program. It's a chaser's paradise. Though, the match is 24 hours away, we still have to figure out how the rain gods are going to play out in the next few hours. But what should the toss-winning side do first?
Bowl first. That's how I look at it. Mohali, as you mentioned, it's a chasing side because you don't know what the pass score is. 170, 180. You don't know. So I think it's always better, especially in this format, to chase quickly. South Africa, they've got a good bowling side. They've got a good bowling side in terms of not just Rabada. You will have Bjorn Hendricks and you will have Nortje. Actually, that's how it's pronounced. Hendrik Nortje, who's quick and sharp. And also this surface where the ball comes onto the bat. someone like Deacock or David Miller, Vander Dusen. Listen, it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be a good game, and obviously India would start favourites, no two ways about that.
All right, so it's going to be a good game, and that is what all of us will be hoping for, because you don't want a single-handed contest between these two stalwart teams, and one of them really has a point to prove, and I'm talking about South Africa. Nikhil Chopra, Deepdas Gupta and Udinda Singh Sodhi, thank you so much for being a part of SportsX. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.